Chair hears none, and it's so ordered. Mr. Harless for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the House grant permission for all committees and subcommittees to meet while the House is in session pursuant to their committee postings or recess motions. For the purpose of this motion, committee and subcommittee scheduled to meet or convene today upon final adjournment or recess or during bill referral, if permission is granted, are authorized to convene upon adoption of the House of today's adjournment motion.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. It's so ordered. Members, please take your conversations outside the rails. Chair lays out the previously adopted resolution. The clerk will read the caption.
H.R. 668 by Cook, recognizing April 16th, 2025 as Texas Juvenile Justice Professional Day at the state capitol.
Chair recognizes Mr. Cook to explain the resolution.
Thank you, Speaker. Members, thank you for the opportunity to recognize the Texas Juvenile Justice Department this morning. The Texas Juvenile Justice System is made up of 164 community-based probation departments serving all 254 of our counties here in the great state of Texas. These departments work in close partnership with the Texas Juvenile Justice Department to serve youth and families at every level of need. Our juvenile justice professionals work with compassion, commitment, and courage, serving some of the highest needs youth in both our local communities and state-operated facilities. Their mission is not only about accountability, but also about healing, growth, and second chances as we attempt to rehabilitate our youth. Through their work, they make a positive and lasting difference in the lives of Texas youth and the safety and strength of our communities. Members, it's truly an honor to recognize the incredible work of these professionals. Their service is vital to the future of our state as we rehabilitate those youth that have been on the wrong track and have the right to be placed on the right track, and for the well-being of the young people that they help every single day. Joining us today on the dais are several outstanding leaders from the Texas Juvenile Justice Department. First, we have the chairman of the TJJD Board, Manny Ramirez, who is also a Fort Worth police officer serving the great city of Fort Worth. We have the executive director of TJJD, Chandra Carter. The deputy director of facility operations, Bill Parks. Dallas County Juvenile Probation Chief and Advisory Councilman Chairman, Lynn Hadnot. And Lubbock County Juvenile Probation Chief and Chair of One Voice, William Carter. And joining us in the gallery, if you'll please rise, we have members of the TJJD Board of Directors, the Advisory Council, the President's Council, Juvenile Probation Chiefs from across Texas, a dedicated staff from the Texas Juvenile Justice Department. And also former member Sean Theory. Members, please join me and move adoption.
Members, this was a previously adopted resolution. Thank you for your continued support. Y'all want to come up and greet them? They're going to come up and say hello and shake everybody's hand. We'll get a picture if y'all want. If you don't mind. That'll be okay? You sure? Following announcement, the clerk will read the announcement.
The Committee on Public Health will meet Thursday, April 17th at 8:30 a.m. in room 1W14 Agricultural Museum in a formal meeting to consider pending referred and committee business.
Chair recognizes Mr. Lozano for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to suspend unnecessary rules to take up and consider House Resolution 693.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? The chair is none. The motion is adopted. Following resolution, the clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. number 693 by Lozano, recognizing April 16th, 2025 as Refugio County Day at the state capitol.
Chair recognizes Mr. Lozano to explain the motion, resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Today I have the distinct honor of hosting a great delegation from Refugio County in my district. We have Refugio County Judge Gigi Pointer, County Commissioner Stanley Tuttle, County Commissioner Gary Wright, and former longtime Refugio County Judge, the Honorable Robert Blaschke. Members, they represent a wonderful county in the state of Texas that's got so much history dating back to the days of our state independence. Refugio is also home to one of the best football teams in the entire state of Texas, the Refugio Bobcats, who pretty much annihilated us and Fremont every time we played them. But members, I do want to welcome everyone here from Refugio, especially those Refugio citizens who are committed to the development of their community. In the gallery, members, please help me welcome Refugio County to the Texas Capitol.
Yeah. They have a history that goes back to biblical days.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move adoption.
The question occurs in the adoption of the resolution. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. Chair lays out the following previously adopted resolution. The clerk will read the caption.
H.R. 679 by Verdell, recognizing April 16th, 2025 as Real County Day at the state capitol.
Chair recognizes Mr. Vidal.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, members. Proud residents of Real County are here today in the gallery to celebrate Real County Day at the state capitol. Real County is an amazing place. Many of you have been there. Situated along Balcones Escarpment on the southern edge of Edwards Plateau, this rugged region of spring-fed streams and scenic canyons was first inhabited by prehistoric people thousands of years ago. In the early 1700s, it was traversed by the nomadic Lipan Apache and the other Native Americans, who left striking examples of rock art along the headwaters of the Nueces and Frio rivers. Anglo-American settlers began arriving in 1850s, and in 1857, the U.S. Army set up Camp Wood near the site of the old mission. After the Civil War, the camp was used by the Army and the Texas Rangers during the years of the last Indian raids. Part of the region was incorporated into Edwards County in 1883, and in 1913, the legislature established Real County from portions of Edwards, Bandera, and Kerr counties, naming it in honor of Julius Real, a former Kerr County judge and the only Republican of the Texas Senate at the time. It's very impressive. In its early years, the county's economy was driven by ranching, especially the raising of sheep and Angora goats, and the Uvalde and Northern Railway helped to encourage immigration into the area and connect it to the national markets. Today, Real County is home to more than 2,800 people. One of the reasons I love my district is how rural it is, and its economy benefits from the tourism, retail, and construction industries. Notable communities include Camp Wood and Lakey, the county seat. Residents and visitors alike enjoy recreational opportunities afforded by the Frio and Nueces rivers. Outdoor enthusiasts are drawn to the area for activities such as hunting, fishing, birdwatching, and camping. And each year, Camp Wood hosts its Old Settlers Reunion in Lindbergh Park, while the annual July Jubilee takes place in Lakey. Real County is blessed with a rich history and abundant natural beauty, and its residents may take great pride in their accomplishments as they continue to work toward an even brighter future. Members, if you are from Real County, please stand. I'd love to give you recognition for being here today. There y'all are. Thank y'all very much. Appreciate y'all being here, and welcome to your Texas capital. Thank you. Hey, Judge, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you. Oh, no, it doesn't have to. It's already.
Chair recognizes Mr. Busey for a recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, please join me in recognizing the outstanding service and achievements of Williamson County Emergency Medical Services as we proudly celebrate their 50th anniversary. I'm joined by one of my fellow Williamson County representatives, Terry Wilson, as well. We are honored to be joined today by many of the dedicated men and women of Williamson County EMS seated in the gallery. Since its founding in 1975, Williamson County EMS has spent the past half-century saving lives and supporting Texans through some of their most difficult and vulnerable moments. What began with just 4 ambulances and 19 team members has grown into a robust and reliable emergency service with over 170 skilled professionals and a fleet of 25 emergency vehicles serving our community every single day. Their excellence has not gone unnoticed. Williamson County EMS is proudly accredited by the Commission on Accreditation of Ambulance Services and has earned the prestigious Mission Lifeline EMS Gold Plus Award from the American Heart Association for their outstanding cardiac care. Beyond their life-saving emergency response, Wilco EMS has shown an unwavering commitment to community education. Through their Take 10 CPR program, they've trained local businesses and nonprofits to act quickly and confidently in a crisis, because saving lives often begins before help arrives. I'd like to give special recognition to Director John Gonzalez for his incredible leadership and continued dedication to public health and safety. We are grateful for his guidance and the entire agency's unwavering commitment to the people of Williamson County. So, Mr. Speaker and members, please join me in congratulating Williamson County EMS on 50 years of life-saving service and in wishing them many more years of continued excellence to come. Welcome to your capital. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to do a photo. You got a second for that?
I'll recognize you. Yeah. Chair lays out the following previously adopted resolution. The clerk will read the caption.
H.R. 300 by Gonzalez of Dallas, paying tribute to the life and legacy of Selena Quintanilla Perez on April 16, 2025, the 54th anniversary of her birth.
Chair recognizes Ms. Gonzalez of Dallas to explain the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members. I've had some proud days here at the front mic in my 4 terms here in the Texas House, but today's a highlight. Today it is my honor to pay tribute to the life of Selena Quintanilla Perez and to wish her a happy heavenly birthday. Selena's story is uniquely Texan, and the life she lived and the art she created and the legacy she created was uniquely Tejana. Without her ever even being aware of it, Selena perfectly represented her people, her community, and what it meant to be Mexican American to the United States and the world. I want to ask my joint authors and any other members who want to say a few words before I close with a short story. Thank you.
I'll go. Okay.
Ms. Morales.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, Selena Quintanilla wasn't just the queen of Tejano music. She was and still is a beacon of hope for young Latinas everywhere. With her voice, her style, In her undeniable charisma, Selena showed us that it's possible to dream big, break barriers, and still stay true to your roots. She embraced her identity even when the world told her she had to choose between being American or Mexican. Selena chose to be both. And in doing so, she taught an entire generation of young Latinas to be proud of who they are. Her legacy reminds us that representation matters, that our stories matter, and that success is possible when you believe in yourself. Selena didn't just sing, she inspired, and her spirit lives on in every young Latina who dares to chase her dreams. Con todo corazón, happy birthday, Selena.
Chair recognizes Mr. Hunter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members, and Representative Villalobos and I. Selena from Corpus Christi, Texas. You know, we honor her there and her wonderful family. They're great friends, but the key is not only was she a great person and her family was a great family, she was a landmark for music, not only in Texas, but internationally. So we're honored, we appreciate all of you, and just remember, she provided a great, great, great landmark for the state of Texas.
Chair recognizes Mr. Raymond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members. I'm so happy you're doing this recognition, and I'm sad still to this day that Selena is not here. She was a wonderful young lady, in addition to being a tremendous talent. I grew up in Benavides, a town of 1,900 people, and we used to have a fiesta there. Ryan represents it now. 1,900 people in that town, and we were able to get Selena to come and play early in her career, even before she was really big. It was estimated that 25,000 people came into that little town, to our little town, to come and listen to her play, and I danced to her music. I can remember being on the floor when we heard she got shot. It was a horrible day. It's a terrible memory. But this today is to remember the great, great things about Selena Quintanilla and Bidi Bidi Bum Boom.
Yes, bitty bitty bum bum.
Bum Bum.
He said the wrong name.
Chair recognizes Ms. Gonzalez-Dallas.
Thank you. I wanted to thank Representatives Villalobos and Chairman Hunter in joining me in this resolution, and my other colleagues. I want to close with a short story. When I was 12 years old, my family and I were visiting in Mexico, and Selena was in town, and I got to go to my first concert. I got to see her live, and so my parents dropped us off early, and because I wanted to be in the very, very front. I somehow convinced her band, her keyboardist. I was like, I really want to meet Selena. Can I meet her? Can I meet her? And he grabs me and he says, come on. And he took me to behind the stage, and I got to meet Selena, and it was just the most incredible experience. She was very humble, you know, on top of her being very talented, and she gave me a big hug, and she signed a $1 bill, and she let me watch the entire concert from the side of the stage. And anyway, members, thank you for this privilege and allowing me to in what would have been her 54th birthday today. And so when you get a moment, sing her Las Mañanitas, and thank you, members.
Thank you, members. Members, please take your conversations outside the rails. The chair recognizes Mr. Lopez of Bear for a recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Today we celebrate an iconic Texas original, Whataburger. For those of you that had not been to a Whataburger, welcome to Texas. Go to a Whataburger, you'll find out what Texas is all about. In 1950, since 1950, Whataburger has been serving big burgers, even bigger heart, starting in Corpus Christi, now headquartered in San Antonio, which we love. With over 1,100 restaurants in 16 states and over 51,000 employees, they are a true Lone Star success story. But it's not just about the burgers, it's about the community pride and service that they uphold. Their service to local events, schools, makes families appreciate their presence, and they are truly part of the Texas fabric, and certainly in San Antonio for the years that they've been there. Seated at the north side of the gallery, I see them waving. Please join me in welcoming and recognizing Whataburger's beloved tradition, a Texas-grown brand, and the real reason we celebrate Whataburger Day. By the way, those of you that drove up on the north side of the Capitol probably saw the Whataburger truck. Come on by, get a burger. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Mr. Guillen for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I move to suspend House Rule 8 Section 5D to designate as joint sponsors and co-sponsors for SB 503, all joint authors and co-authors for HB 147.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? The chair hears none, so ordered. Chair lays out on third reading Senate Bill 503. The clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill number 503 by Perry, relating to the establishment of an electronic registry of livestock marks and brands.
Chair recognizes Mr. Guillen to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, Senate Bill 503 brings the livestock brand registration into this century by streamlining the process, allowing remote registration, and ensuring brand records are timely, accurate, and accessible to law enforcement, ranchers, and county clerks. It's housed at the Texas Animal Health Commission. The bill brings efficiency, convenience, and flexibility to the current paper and pencil system that's over 100 years old. Move passage.
The question occurs in the final passage of Senate Bill 503. This is a record vote. The clerk will ring the bell. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? Show as a Capriglione voting aye. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? There being 117 ayes and 13 nays, Senate Bill 503 is finally passed. Good job. Chair lays out on second reading SB 2. The clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill number 2 by Creighton, relating to the establishment of an education savings account program.
Chair recognizes Mr. Buckley for a motion.
All right. Mr. Speaker, I move to postpone further consideration of SB 2 until after second reading consideration of HB 2000.
You've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair is not. There is an objection. Objection. A record vote has been requested. All those in favor. You want to speak?
Yes.
Chair recognizes Mr. Kane in opposition to the motion by the bill author to postpone.
Mr. Speaker, members, it's time to stop the delays. The people of Texas have been waiting patiently but persistently for us to take action on school choice. They've printed town halls, signed petitions, and spoken out. Parents from every corner of this state have made their voices clear. They want freedom to choose the best education for their children, and they've waited far too long. This is not a new issue. Members, though, this is the priority. It's the governor's priority. It should come before school finance. So I ask you to join me in voting no.
Chair recognizes Brad Buckley in support of the motion to postpone his bill.
Members, I think it's clear of my commitment to SB 2. This decision we make is in terms of making sure that we have a thorough and honest and vigorous debate on this. I ask for you to support this motion, to take up HB 2 first, and then move on later in the day to SB 2.
Record vote has been requested. The clerk will ring the bell. Show of hands. Buckley voting aye, Mr. Meyer voting aye, Mr. Bell voting aye, Mr. Talarico voting aye, Mr. Leach voting aye, Mr. Biral voting aye. Have all members voted? Mr. Frank voting aye. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? Being 124 ayes and 18 nays, the motion prevails. Chair lays out on third reading House Bill 120. The clerk will read the bill.
HB number 120 by Belov Kaufman, relating to career and technology education programs in public schools, the Rural Pathway Excellent Partnership Program, and a high school advising program, including funding for those programs under the Foundation School Program, and to the new instructional facility allotment and the permissible uses of funding under the Foundation School Program.
Chair recognizes Mr. Bell to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this bill addresses the governor's emergency item on expanding career and technology education to build on existing programs and introduce new initiatives to ensure students graduate with skills, credentials, career pathways needed to succeed, and transition to high-wage, high-demand careers, strengthening local communities and Texas economy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage.
Question occurs on final passage of House Bill 120. This is a record vote. The clerk will ring the bell. Show Mr. Bell of Coppin voting aye. Mr. Leach voting aye. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? Being 144 ayes and 1 nay, House Bill 120 is finally passed. Chair lays out on third reading House Bill 20. The clerk will read the bill.
HB number 20 by Gates, relating to establishing the Applied Sciences Pathway Program.
Chair asks Mr. Gates to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. HB 20 establishes the Applied Science Pathway Program. I move passage.
Question occurs on final passage of House Bill 20. This is a record vote. The clerk will ring the bell. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? Being 144 ayes and 1 nay, House Bill 20 is finally passed. Chair lays out on third reading House Bill 150. The clerk will read the bill.
HB number 150 by Capriglione, relating to the establishment of the Texas Cyber Command as a component institution of the University of Texas system and the transfer to it of certain powers and duties of the Department of Information Resources.
Chair recognizes Mr. Capriglione to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, with the Texas Cyber Command, we are charting a path towards resiliency and putting our governments and communities on the best footing. I move passage.
The question occurs on final passage of House Bill 150. This is a record vote. The clerk will ring the bell. So Mr. Leach voting aye. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? There being 130 ayes and 13 nays, House Bill 150 is finally passed. Chair lays out on third reading House Bill 6. The clerk will read the bill.
HB number 6 by Leach, relating to discipline in public schools.
Chair recognizes Mr. Leach to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this is the Texas Teachers Bill of Rights. I do have a third reading amendment.
Following amendment, the clerk will read the amendment.
Amendment by Leach.
Mr. Leach to explain his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, let me just explain this real quick. First, the amendment makes changes to the charter school language that was inadvertently left out yesterday. It changes the requirements for what disciplinary matters they can and can't consider before denying enrollment. Second, it places the language that was in Section 37005 regarding what procedures must be followed upon return to the classroom. And third, it makes an additional cleanup change. And then fourth and finally, the Representative Bowers amendment yesterday that she so graciously pulled down. We worked over the past several hours on that, and her amendment is included in this third reading amendment. So with that, members, I'm really proud to move, I guess I need to move adoption of the third reading amendment.
The following amendment is acceptable to the author. However, a record vote has been requested, so the clerk will ring the bell. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? There being 142 ayes and 2 nays, the amendment is adopted. Chair recognizes Mr. Leach to close on House Bill 6.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I move passage of House Bill 6, the Teachers' Bill of Rights.
The question occurs in the final passage of House Bill 6. This is a record vote. Clerk ring the bell. Chair Representative Leach voting aye. Have all members voted? Have all? Mr. King of Hemphill voting aye. Have all members voted? There being 124 ayes and 20 nays, House Bill 6 is finally passed. Chair lays out on third reading House Bill 100. The clerk will read the bill.
HB number 100 by Leo Wilson, relating to the purchase, adoption, and use of instructional materials by public schools.
Chair recognizes Ms. Leo Wilson to explain a bill.
Mr. Speaker and members, a teacher's #1 teaching tool is the instructional materials. High-quality instructional materials are the key component in delivering grade-level TEKS. I would like to thank the Speaker for making high-quality instructional materials a priority this session. I respectfully ask you to support.
Question occurs in final passage of House Bill 100. This is a record vote. The clerk will ring the bell. Chair Representative Leo Wilson voting aye. Have all members voted? Ms. Collier voting no. Mr. King of Hemphill voting aye. Mr. Vasut voting aye. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? There being 103 ayes and 42 nays, House Bill 100 is finally passed. Chair lays out on third reading House Bill 210. The clerk will read the bill.
HB number 210 by Guillen, relating to contracting with the school district by a vendor with whom a member of the Board of Trustees of the district or a related individual has certain business interest, creating a criminal offense.
Chair recognizes Mr. Guillen to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, HB 210 cracks down on school board corruption by banning contracts with vendors if a trustee or close relative holds a substantial financial interest. Move passage.
The question occurs on final passage of House Bill 210. This is a record vote. The clerk will ring the bell. Have all members voted? Mr. Metcalf voting aye. Have all members voted? Have all Bowers voting aye. Ms. Hull voting aye. Have all members voted? There being 146 ayes and 0 nays, House Bill 210 is finally passed. Chair lays out on third reading House Bill 215. The clerk will read the bill.
HB number 215 by Guillen, relating to the payment of support rights and benefits for a child placed with a relative or other designated caregiver.
Chair recognizes Mr. Guillen to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this bill ensures that when a child is placed with a relative or designated caregiver, the benefits like SSI and child support follow the child. Move passage.
Final question occurs on final passage of House Bill 215. This is a record vote. The clerk will ring the bell. Show Ms. Hull voting aye. Mr. Metcalf voting aye. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? There being 145 ayes and 0 nays, House Bill 215 is finally passed. Chair lays out on third reading House Bill 1393. The clerk will read the bill.
HB number 1393 by Metcalf, relating to daylight savings time.
Chair recognizes Mr. Metcalf to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, let's pass Texas time. Quit changing our clocks every time.
Question occurs on final passage of House Bill 1393. This is a record vote. The clerk will ring the bell. Show Ms. Hull voting aye. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? There being 133 ayes and 11 nays, House Bill 1393 is finally passed. Chair lays out on third reading House Bill 1151. Clerk will read the bill.
HB number 1151 by Hull, relating to neglect of a child and the grounds for termination of the parent-child relationship and possession of a child by the Department of Family and Protective Services.
Chair has Ms. Hull to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this has to do with the definition of neglect and the parent-child relationship. Move passage.
Question occurs on final passage of House Bill 1151. This is a record vote. The clerk will ring the bell. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? There being 145 ayes and 1 nay, House Bill 1151 is finally passed. Chair lays out on third reading House Bill 1268. The clerk will read the bill.
HB number 1268 by Button, relating to the creation of the Texas Technology and Innovation Program.
Chair recognizes Ms. Button to explain her bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this bill creates the Texas Technology and Innovation Program to better leverage on federal dollars supporting our small Texas businesses. Move passage.
The question occurs on final passage of House Bill 1268. This is a record vote. The clerk will ring the bell. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? There being 116 ayes and 29 nays, House Bill 1268 is finally passed. Chair lays out on third reading House Bill 142. Clerk will read the bill.
HB number 142 by Noble, relating to the administration, authority, and duties of the Health and Human Services Commission's Office of Inspector General.
Chair recognizes Ms. Noble to explain her bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill protects our Medicaid dollars from waste, fraud, and abuse. I move passage.
Question occurs on final passage of House Bill 142. This is a record vote. The clerk will ring the bell. Ms. Bowers voting aye. Ms. Hull voting aye. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? There being 144 ayes and 0 nays, House Bill 142 is finally passed. Chair lays out on third reading House Bill 451. The clerk will read the bill.
HB number 451 by Thompson, relating to a screening for the risk of commercial sexual exploitation of certain children.
Chair recognizes Ms. Thompson to explain the bill.
Mr. Speaker, members, this is a bill that broadens our opportunity to be able to screen children, particularly those who are in foster care and TJJD. I move final passage.
The question occurs on final passage of House Bill 451. This is a record vote. The clerk will ring the bell. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? Being 147 ayes and 0 nays, House Bill 451 is finally passed. Next bill on the calendar, House Bill 124, is not eligible until 5 p.m. Members, we are waiting on the drafting of a perfecting amendment for HB 2, the school finance bill. The House will stand at ease until 11:15. The House will come to order. Mr. Smithy for a motion.
Mr. Speaker and members, I move that the House grant permission for the Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence to meet while the House is in session today at 3 p.m. in room 1W14, the Agricultural Museum, to consider pending, referred, and committee business.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? The chair hears none, so ordered. Mr. King for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the House grant permission for the Committee on State Affairs to meet while the House is in session today at 1 p.m. in room 1W14, the Agricultural Museum, to consider pending, referred, and committee business.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? The chair hears none, so ordered. The following announcements, the clerk will read the announcements.
The Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence will meet today at 3 p.m. in room 1W14, Agricultural Museum, in a formal meeting to consider pending, referred, and committee business. The Committee on State Affairs will meet today at 1 p.m. in room 1W14, Agricultural Museum, in a formal meeting to consider pending, referred, and committee business.
Chair lays out on second reading House Bill 2. The clerk will read the bill.
HB number 2 by Buckley, relating to public education and public school finance.
Chair recognizes Mr. Buckley to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. This bill alone represents nearly $8 billion in funding for our public schools. Let me repeat, $8 billion for your public schools. And together with the House's other priority legislation, such as HB 120, HB 124, and HB 123, we will provide nearly $10 billion for our public schools this session. This is more money for Texas public education than any other piece of legislation in the history of the state. This is landmark funding for Texas public schools. Members, you've seen your district runs. Every district gains substantial resources going forward as a result of this bill. And members, I could talk about all the good things in this bill and the impact that it will have for our schools all day. But for the sake of time, let me just hit the highlights with all of you right now. First, we've increased the basic allotment from $6,160 to $6,555. And members, that includes an ongoing automatic increase to the BA every biennium, tying that to the growth of property values through the golden penny yield. Most importantly, HB 2 does a number of things for Texas teachers. It provides over $1 billion for salary increases for our teachers, our school counselors, nurses, and librarians, specifically those with 5 or more years of experience or 10 or more years of experience as well, with these pay increases ranging between $3,500 and $7,000. We substantially increased the small and mid-size adjustment for our nearly 1,000 small and mid-sized schools to help address the teacher pay gap between smaller districts and more urban districts. We provide more resources for the teacher incentive allotment, which directly results in more teachers making 6-figure salaries and for them to stay in the classroom. These are our best, and we must keep them in the classroom. HB 2 provides direct money to districts to get their teachers certified so that the teachers in our classrooms are well prepared to educate our children. It establishes the popular Grow Your Own program as an allotment, equipping districts to recruit and train teachers from their communities to earn a degree and their teacher certification. And for some of you, I know, and most importantly, this bill increases special education funding by over $1 billion, and it includes a new funding model based on student needs. Members, to implement this historic funding for special education and to change in a very material way the way we fund special education in Texas, most of the special education funding based on intensity of service model will occur in the second year of the biennium. There is still more resources for special ed the first year of the biennium, but as districts become accustomed to utilizing the processes to make sure that the funding we provide for special education students matches the needs and services that they require, we wanted to give them a runway to do this, and this comes upon the recommendation of our special education leaders across the state. Members, this bill provides more money for pre-K, for bilingual education, compensatory education, and charter school facilities over the biennium. HB 2 represents a thoughtful, student-centered investment in public education. It provides teacher support and a substantial investment in special education and other important services that we need in our public schools, all while ensuring district flexibility. This bill provides substantially for local control. And before we move on with our discussion on this historic piece of legislation, I would be remiss if I didn't thank the members of the House Public Education Committee for their time and their investment in the development of this bill. But most importantly, I want to thank my Vice Chairman, Diego Bernal, and his team. His enthusiasm and the ideas he contributed were essential in drafting this bill. Members, we heard hours and hours of testimony, and we had several great discussions on the provisions of this bill. I also want to thank members on this floor right now that have come to me with issues involving very specific things that are happening in your districts. That's what we do in the Texas House. We represent our districts. And that representation of your districts could not be more apparent in any piece of legislation you'll see today than in House Bill 2. Members, I look forward to having a robust discussion today about this bill. I ask you to stand with us as we provide the largest investment of funding for our public schools in the history of this state. Members, I'll have a perfecting amendment, and I'd like to lay that out this time before I take questions.
Mr. Talarico, for what purpose?
Does the gentleman yield for a couple questions?
Does the gentleman yield for some questions?
Yes.
The gentleman yields.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, want to thank you for your work and for Vice Chair Bernal's work on this bill. There's a lot of good stuff in it. I voted for this bill out of committee. As I've said before, I would vote for a $1 increase for our public schools. And so I do want to acknowledge that this is a good step forward. But as I mentioned in committee, I don't want to overpromise the people of Texas what this bill will do. So I just want to ask you a few questions. Yes, is it true that this bill doesn't catch our schools up to 2019 funding levels?
This bill and other pieces of legislation, some that have passed this body already, will provide more than $10 billion
Yes.
in public education funding.
Yes, sir. My question is, will, in total, that catch our schools up to 2019 funding levels? I was a co-author of House Bill 3 back in 2019. I know you worked on that legislation too. Will this bill, along with other bills, catch us up to those funding levels back in 2019? Yeah.
You know, Mr. Talarico, I think the inflationary environment that our districts have had, that our businesses have suffered through, that our families have suffered through, have created tremendous gaps in lots of funding. But House Bill 2 is a significant investment. It is a, I think Vice Chairman Bernal made a great statement this morning as we met with members of the press, and that was this, is that school funding and public education funding in particular cannot be viewed as a sculpture. It's a garden. And so this is planting that seed to build our way back to making sure that our schools have the resources they need. And again, I just want to emphasize, members, you have an opportunity today to cast a vote for the largest investment in public education in the history of our state. And so we will continue this process as this body returns session after session to make sure the resources there for our schools.
And I know that you've said a couple times that this is a historic investment. Would you also acknowledge that our schools are in a historic hole financially?
Yeah, you know, if you look around my district and other districts, and I've visited with some of you, you've invited me to your cities and your counties. You know, we've had real heart-to-heart talks with our school leaders, teachers, and parents. And you know, there's no doubt that the inflationary environment of the last few years has hit our schools, and you know, some have had resources to provide the things. You know, some have given teacher pay raises along the way. Others have not been able to. But House Bill 2 really speaks to that, and again, it provides a tremendous investment to help them get back where we know they need to be.
Okay, but I want to make sure we're nailing down an answer. This does not get us out of that historic hole that our schools are in since 2019. I want to make sure we're getting a clear answer on whether or not this bill, along with other bills, in total would catch our schools up. Because, Chairman, the comptroller says it would take $15 billion to catch our schools up to 2019 funding levels. So my interpretation of this bill, even linked with other bills would not catch us up to those 2019 funding levels. Is that correct?
Yeah, Mr. Tallarico, what I would do is I would have you go around this floor and talk to each members that have talked to their superintendents, like I have over the last couple of days, and find out, what this bill does for them.
Chairman,
I have not had one superintendent that I've talked with in my district that has not seen this as a significant investment that allows them to do the things they need to do.
Of course. I think all superintendents would appreciate any increase in funding. My question to you, and I just want a straight answer. I'm trying to be respectful in my questioning of you. I'd like a respectful answer in return. Will this bill catch us up to 2019 funding levels? That's a yes or no question.
I believe that this is a bipartisan effort to close the gap. No.
I'm going to take that as a no until I get a yes. I want...
The gallery will refrain from making these remarks or outbursts during the debate.
Chairman, in terms of teacher pay, do you have an idea of how much this bill will raise teacher pay on average? I know that's a complicated question, but do we have a general sense of what teacher pay increases will look like?
Yeah, the bill requires anywhere from about $3,500 to $7,000, but it could be more based on district to district.
And do you know what it would take to get average teacher pay in Texas to the national average? Again, I don't think Texas should be average in anything. I want us to be the best in all things. But just to get us to the national average, do you know what kind of teacher pay increase we would need to do that?
Well, I think it's important to note that the bill provides targeted resources for teachers with 5 years of experience and more targeted resources for teachers with 10 years of experience. And I think one of the things that we have done in time in Texas is we have chased the starting salary, but we've not invested in our more experienced teachers, except through teacher incentive allotment. I want to thank Vice Chair Bernal for his hard work on making sure that we invest in teachers with 5 or 10 years of experience. And once you do that, you're going to see the average. You're going to see the average change. And I think this is a tremendous step towards paying our teachers significant increases that they deserve.
And the answer was $10,000. That's what we would need on average to get our teachers just to the national average on teacher pay, and this bill fails to do that. I appreciate your answers. You know, we have schools closing across the state, in my district, in your area, in areas across Texas. Do you feel that this bill meets the moment and will be able to stop those school closures that are happening across our state?
You know, I think it speaks to the most significant investment in public schools in our history, and I believe it's also going to give